Hi, I'm Area Forestry and Wildlife Agent Janet Steele. Today in this session on how to protect your land, we're going to be talking about the importance of knowing where your property boundaries are and some easy ways you can use to maintain them. We're also going to discuss how you can protect your property from issues such as trespass. The first step for locating the boundaries on your property is to visit your county GIS to see if there is a deed or plat that you can download directly to get the property boundary description for your land. If not, you may need to make a trip to your courthouse. A plat is a map of your land. It is going to show the adjoining landowners at the time your property was surveyed. It will describe the boundary with bearings and distances. It will also have a legend that will indicate the type of markers you can find at each corner. When you're trying to locate your property line, one thing you got to keep in mind is that between corners along the line, there may not always be markers. But property corners are usually going to be marked with some kind of metal. This plat calls for a 1 1/4 inch pipe at the corner. This pipe was easy to locate since it has been well flagged in recent years and is standing above the ground line. Often markers are driven into the ground and are more difficult to locate. Property corners will often call for a rebar with cap. This is a piece of rebar that has been driven into the ground and has a plastic cap stamped with the surveyor's name and also usually their state license number. If one of your corners has been disturbed, the best thing to do is leave the corner marker where you find it and contact a surveyor to have it reset. Placing the marker where you think it should go can just create an issue when your property or adjoining property is surveyed in the future. Surveyors will normally mark the property line by hanging flagging from trees and other vegetation. This is a great way to be able to determine where your boundaries for your land are located. You will need to go back every year or so and hang fresh flagging since the flagging tape will become weathered and will often break and fall to the ground. Pink is a great year-round color, and orange works very well in the summer but may be difficult to see in the fall months with the changing colors and leaf foliage. Protecting property corners with additional materials such as PVC pipe and making them highly visible is also a good idea if you're going to be doing any timber harvesting or land clearing around your property corner. One thing you need to consider when you're locating your property boundaries is you cannot always rely on old fence lines. This fence line on our property in Calhoun County is actually located about 6 inches on the adjoining acreage. So we would not have wanted to use this fence to mark our property line. One thing you may want to consider if you're doing any major land clearing on your property is to have a surveyor come out and just confirm where your property lines are. We had a surveyor come and set PVC pipe every 100 feet along our property line since we were clearing for pasture. Obviously, you can tell from the location of this PVC pipe, the old fence runs in and out of our property line. So we would not want to rely on this fence as the location for our property line.
Hi, I'm Judy Barnes. I am a retired certified wildlife biologist. I worked with the Department of Natural Resources for about 20 years. My husband and I are a private landowner. We have around 250 acres in Calhoun County. Whether they inherit property or they buy property. The first thing a landowner should do, they need to know where their lines are. They need to know where their property is. For example, you wanted to conduct a timber harvest. You need to know that it's on your property, not the adjacent landowner. You want to conduct a prescribed burn. You do not want to burn your neighbor's property. You want to burn only your property. If you hunt, you need to know where to set up your deer stands and how far you can go on your property lines. Let's say you're having a timber harvest and you cut some trees down on your neighbor, they can claim triple stumpage, which means 3 times the value of that tree. That can be pretty pricey if you're trying to have revenue from that timber harvest, and vice versa. You want to be sure that the adjacent landowner is not on your property. A good time to walk your lines, is in the fall, when you have leaf drop. And a lot of times you're out there anyway, maybe if you hunt, looking for signs of deer. But again, as I said, not only getting them established, but maintaining. And there are several ways. As you can see, we have the plastic piping. We've got the rebar pole. You can do flagging. And of course, orange is a great color. You can see it throughout the woods. A lot of times it was trespassing. Somebody was coming on their property and they could tell they were on their property. Poaching, especially if you're hunting or if you think people are poaching on your property, signs are a pretty good avenue to go down. I was surprised at the number of landowners didn't think about posting my boundary lines. I just think it's really important that you do it.
South Carolina's trespassing law requires that a landowner post no trespassing signs at 4 conspicuous places on their property. Usually this will be at points of entry and at property corners. Once the property has been posted, no one may enter the property for any purpose without permission.
There is a program, Property Watch, through the Department of Natural Resources. These conservation officers will come out to the property, walk over it with you, especially if there has been evidence of poaching or trespassing on your property.
One of the most important things you can do to protect your property from trespass is to limit access. Ungated roads such as this are often seen as an open invitation for others to enter your property. Constructing sturdy gates at points of access, especially ones that cannot be driven around, is one of the best means to reduce trespass. Also, a trespasser who intentionally damages a gated or fenced property can face additional fines if caught. Finally, one of the most important things you can do to protect your timberland is to establish and maintain fire breaks around stands that have high fuel loads or risk from wildfire. This is especially critical when these stands are bordered by public roads or adjoin other tracts where the threat from a fire crossing the property line is likely.